In a world where everything is constantly shifting, our responsibilities, relationships, and even the very fabric of our lives, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer chaos of daily existence. The constant noise, the pull in every direction, the distractions that scream for our attention, it can feel like a storm with no calm in sight. Yet, the Stoic pause offers us a refuge, a sanctuary amidst this madness. This pause is not just a strategy, but a living expression of Stoic philosophy in action. It is a way to reclaim control, to step out of the swirling chaos, and to return to the center of our being. The Stoic pause is an invitation to pause before reacting. It's a practice of self-awareness and discipline, a call to return to reason in moments of emotional turbulence. In our everyday lives, it is all too easy to respond impulsively, whether out of frustration, anger, or anxiety. But the Stoics remind us that we are not our impulses. We are not the sum of our fleeting emotions. We are the one who observes those emotions, the one who has the power to choose what comes next. This practice of pausing before reacting gives us the spiritual freedom to act with wisdom rather than reacting blindly to external stimuli. It's a simple yet profound truth: we are not slaves to our first thought or our initial emotional response. Through the Stoic pause, we create space, an intentional gap between stimulus and response. Within that space lies freedom, clarity, and choice. And the more we practice this pause, the more we develop the capacity to live thoughtfully rather than reactively. By training ourselves to take that brief moment of stillness before responding, we forge the habit of calm strength, a foundation that can support us in even the most challenging of circumstances. This pause is not merely about avoiding reaction, it's about becoming the type of person who is unshaken by the turbulence around them. It's about becoming someone who can be trusted with hardship, responsibility, and even peace. Not because the world has changed, but because we have. The Stoic pause teaches us that peace is not something we find when the world quiets down, but something we create within ourselves, in spite of the noise. For 1 week, practice the Stoic pause whenever you feel triggered, whether by anger, frustration, or stress. Count slowly to 5 before responding. You will begin to notice how often that initial emotional surge fades away within that short pause, leaving space for a calm, thoughtful response. With each passing day, you will strengthen your capacity to navigate life's challenges with clarity and poise. But the Stoic practice does not stop with the pause, it extends to a deeper meditation, memento mori, the contemplation of mortality. The Stoics meditated daily on the reality of death, not to foster despair, but to gain a clear perspective on life. By contemplating death, they sought to strip away the trivial distractions that often cloud our judgment and focus on what truly matters. Death is the greatest equalizer, the one certainty in our lives, and yet it is also the greatest motivator for living a life of purpose. Seneca, in his writings, highlights the absurd contradiction in our lives: you act like mortals in all that you fear and like immortals in all that you desire. We fear the small discomforts, setbacks, and inconveniences of life as though they were fatal, yet we waste time as though we have an infinite number of tomorrows. The Stoics used the contemplation of death as a tool to shake off this delusion. By remembering that our time is limited, they could prioritize what truly matters: relationships, character, virtue, and action. The contemplation of death is not a call to live in fear or detachment, but rather a call to live fully. When we face the truth of our mortality, we begin to appreciate the fleeting beauty of life. Every moment becomes precious. The Stoics believed that by contemplating death regularly, we could eliminate the distractions and illusions that rob us of our time. We could focus on what is truly important, living with intention, cultivating love, choosing purpose over distraction. Memento mori does not call us to retreat from life but to engage more fully in it. It's only when we accept that time is limited that we begin to prioritize what matters most. Time, once lost, can never be regained. This simple truth compels us to live with urgency, to stop procrastinating, to forgive quickly, to express our love, and to move toward what fills our souls with purpose. Death sharpens our focus and strengthens our courage. It helps us to recognize what is truly worth our attention and what can be let go of without regret. When we remember that we, like everyone we know, will eventually die, we see how trivial so many of our concerns are. The petty arguments, the noise of social approval, the endless search for more material wealth, these concerns fade into insignificance when placed beside the truth that time is finite. This awareness doesn't lead us to disengage from life, but rather to engage more fully. It calls us to live with intention, to let go of what does not serve us, and to focus on what truly nurtures the spirit. But the Stoics didn't just meditate on death, they also practiced virtue as the means by which to live with purpose. Calmness, in their view, is not something to be pursued for its own sake. Instead, it arises naturally when we live according to our highest values. The more we practice justice, courage, temperance, and wisdom, the more we cultivate inner peace. For the Stoics, calmness is the byproduct of virtue, not an escape from difficulty, but a product of facing challenges with integrity. Virtue is the bedrock of the Stoic way of life. Justice gives us a sense of purpose beyond ourselves, courage allows us to confront fear with resolve, temperance helps us maintain balance in the face of desire, and wisdom guides us through uncertainty and hardship. These four cardinal virtues form the foundation of a resilient and peaceful soul. By living in accordance with these principles, we train ourselves to remain steadfast in the face of adversity, unshaken by the storms of life. Calmness does not come from avoiding the storm, but from learning how to stand firm in the midst of it. The Stoics understood that peace is not found by running away from conflict or discomfort, but by engaging with the world in a way that reflects our highest virtues. By practicing these virtues consistently, we build a mind that is untroubled by the external noise of the world. External events may be chaotic, but we have the power to remain calm and centered, guided by reason and clarity. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, like the rock that the waves keep crashing over, you are still standing firm. By living virtuously, we build an inner fortress that cannot be shaken. We learn to become selective with our thoughts, intentional with our words, and deliberate in our actions. Each day, we make choices that strengthen our moral character, and over time, these small actions add up to create a life of deep integrity and peace. The Stoic promise is not that life will be free of challenges, but that those challenges will no longer define us. Instead, they become opportunities for growth and transformation. Every hardship we face becomes a chance to practice the virtues we claim to hold dear. And from this practice, calmness is born, quiet, unshakable, and entirely our own. It is the calm that arises from living with purpose, from acting in alignment with our deepest values. Each morning, choose one virtue to embody throughout the day. Write it down and allow it to be your compass. Whether it's patience in moments of frustration, courage in moments of fear, or humility in moments of pride, let this virtue guide every decision, every conversation, every action. Reflect on why you've chosen it and how it will shape your day. Throughout the day, whenever you feel pulled by distractions or emotions, pause and ask yourself, what would patience choose in this moment? What would courage demand of me? At the end of the day, reflect on how well you upheld that virtue. Acknowledge your successes, but also examine where you fell short. This is not an exercise in self-criticism, but in learning and growth. Over time, these small practices will accumulate, shaping you into someone who doesn't just know the virtues but lives them. And as you do, you will build a life of peace, purpose, and resilience, no matter what challenges you face. The Stoic path is not one of escape or avoidance but one of engagement with life as it is, with all its difficulties and uncertainties. Through the cultivation of virtue, the practice of the Stoic pause, and the constant reflection on death's inevitable arrival, we can create a life that is not only calm but deeply meaningful, grounded in the values that endure beyond the storms of life. We will become stronger not because life is easier, but because we have learned to meet life with wisdom, courage, and purpose. And in doing so, we will build a life so rich in integrity that we can meet death, not with fear, but with readiness.